Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to LSRTV's coverage of the Domino's TYJ Cup Series Owens Towing 160. Live from Michigan International Speedway in the shadow of Motor City, Detroit here tonight, inside the Inside Sim Racing broadcast booth, I'm Gabriel Wood. Alongside me tonight, a very special combo. Peak Antifreeze Series announcer Tim Terry and former Peak Antifreeze Series driver Brian Schoenberg. Week 7 on the year, and for many of these drivers, it's make or break. Tonight, if you're in the top 10 in standings, it's all about points racing and trying to get yourself in a position to win the championship. If you're toward the back end of the standings, Tim, it's all about getting those wins and salvaging what you can for the year.
Yeah, with Michigan International Speedway, this is a wide track, it's a fast track, things happen fairly quickly, so if something does happen in front of you, you need to make sure you take evasive action to get around it. But once we do get some green flag racing in here, 80 laps, long way to get around this racetrack. Conserve a little bit. Pit strategy is going to come into play around 30 laps or so on the fuel, so got to keep a watch on that if we go green. There's many keys to this race that we're going to watch unfold here as we get closer and closer to the green flag.
Yeah, as you said, about 30 laps here on a green flag run on the fuel, so we're going to see some split strategies. If we can get some green flag racing, do these guys pit for tires and don't care about their fuel running out? Because we know Michigan, very abrasive racetrack. If they get the tire fall off, we're thinking about those tires could fall off to the point where we could see some 2 to 3 stop strategies like we saw last night in the Ascourse Truck Series. The guy up here in the booth, one of the two guys to pull off that one-stop strategy, and it brought him home to second place. So, Brian, you know how to get it done on the one-stop strategy.
Yeah, definitely. The thing about a one-stop strategy that makes it really tricky is not only are you trying to hit your marks, but at the same time you have cars on much newer and older tires going around you like crazy. So it's not only managing what's going on around you, but also trying to hit your marks as well. It makes it really tricky.
Well, as qualifying gets ready to conclude here, we're going to go to our pre-race ceremonies before we get to the drop of the green flag. Now it's time for your national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was
And that was Jaden Berkey with your rendition of the national anthem. We're going to get ready to grid here. Curtis Aho gets the pole tonight. In fact, it's the Curtis and Curtis show there on the front row. Tim, we're going to run through our entire field as we get ready to set to go green. As I said, Curtis Aho gets the pole with a 36.862. Right behind him, Curtis Young in the number 19 with a 36.885. Third place is going to go to the 00 of Sean Meir. Jet Danielson will start fourth. Fifth place is going to go to Gary Weston. Joey Lamb in sixth. Paul Fugit, good qualifying run for him in seventh. Joe Owen in the sixth starts eighth. Ninth position of Justin Faulkner. And Steve Cunningham rounds out your top 10.
Ray Richer rolls off from position number 11. Josh Ramos in position number 12. Gerald Heffley in position number 13. That's the 28 car. The 420 is Russ Coe. He rolls off in 14th. Marcus Potts, Eric Hawk, Brandon Rost, Dean Viney, Ray Schmidt, and Philip Mayer is your top 20. And I apologize. Those are a lot of new names to me, Gabe.
New names to him. Series regulars to me. We're going to get you acquainted with them all night here. 21st position, Chad Payne. Jim Walking in the number 91 will start 22nd. David Gainforth in 23rd. Ryan Steinacker in the 48 starts 24th. Don Norris in 25th. Tyler Roberts in 26th. 27th is going to go to the 16th of Justin Anderson. Brent Scott will roll off 28th. Last car to take time here tonight. The provisional starters 29th, Ivan Jones. David May in 30th.
You got Gary Brown, Brent Rogers, Michael Fravert, Len McNeese, Mike Donahue, Robert McFarland, and Ellery Queen rolling off in provisional land. And there's a name back there, that 62 Ellery Queen. He was running some very fast laps in the practice session, Gabe, albeit fixed setup here this evening. It looks like he might have something for these guys, but if he does, he's going to have to roll off from the rear of the running order.
Yeah, he's going to have to roll off from that 37th and final starting position. He's going to have to wear out his tires coming up through the field. Track facts on your screen right now. It's a 2-mile D-shaped oval, very unique, almost like a California, but a lot more higher banked. We're going to throw it to Brian Schoenberg. Final thoughts before green as we get ready to roll here under pace lap.
Well, something that's really interesting about this racetrack is it can be a ton of fun if your car's working good for you. Obviously, this being a fixed setup league, everybody's going to have the same car, obviously, but at the same time, you want to make sure you run in the right groove the whole entire time, and you got to make sure you take care of the car, because if you have any sort of aero damage or any sorts of damage with that vehicle, it's not going to be a very fun race for you. Something I wanted to point out too was the 53 of Ivan Jones. He was your points leader coming into this event. The series official was not allowing him to run the event tonight, so we're definitely going to have a new points leader after tonight. 00 Sean Meir's got to be looking at his chops right now.
Something to look out for. A lot of these guys, not just him licking his chops, but everybody behind him. The points right now, it's going to be Ivan Jones, your leader, as you said, will not take the green tonight. Sean Meir in second, about 9 points behind him. 3 points behind him, Curtis Young. He will start on the outside, so a couple of your points leaders up toward the front of the field. These cars come through turns 3 and 4. Pace car is going to duck off this time. We're going to get the green flag rolling here in the Owens Towing 160. Michigan, very unique racetrack. I love racing here, but very difficult racetrack to get a hold of. Those seams there across the racetrack, you see those black lines are going to cause trouble for these drivers. Pace car is going to pull off to the safety of pit road. Cars are all rolling, all 37 of them taking the green flag in the air at Michigan.
Green flag as these guys dive into corner number 1 this time. We'll have to watch some of these guys middle of the pack, back in the pack, because Brian, you know that these guys know that it's all bunched up together. Get as many positions as you can, especially if you're near the back of the field. The front half of the field is going to get single file, at least through about your top 5 or so, as they fan out down the back straightaway. Your first battle is 14 and 45 side by side. Looks like Paul is trying to get a couple of positions here. The 51 behind him as well. And Brian, looks like these guys up in front content to ride, everybody else trying to pick off those quick passes.
Yeah, it looks like they're definitely very content with riding right now. Something they use here is accelerated tire wear and accelerated gas usage as well. So saving the tires is definitely at a premium here. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. If you're around 15th, 20th, if you can pick off 4 or 5 of them, really quick, it's definitely worth it to take advantage of it. So it's really a double-edged sword. It's just how you balance it.
Going down the back straightaway for lap number 2, Curtis Aho is your leader in that 38. Your top 4 remain unchanged. Curtis Young in second, Sean Meir in the 00 in third. Right behind them, Judd Danielson in that 85. Talk about him, he hasn't had the finishes he wanted this year, but he's qualified up front here, and he's running very well. Another person you can talk about, Tim, you're talking about him, Paul Fugit. He's also one of those guys, qualifies up front, runs very well. Just really doesn't end up being there at the end, not of any of his own doing. He just doesn't catch any breaks, but staying up front here toward the first part of this race, that's really going to help his chances by being up there at the end.
If you can see that leader, you get that little sense that I can make that move. It's a long race. It's 80 laps. Being up front early in the race gives you a little bit of confidence as you go through here. As you ride on board with one of these drivers around this racetrack, I'm watching the 81 come through the field. Joey Lamb started in 6th. He's all the way up to position 4 right now. Might not seem like much, Brian, in the first couple of laps, but made a beautiful pass a couple laps ago on Judd Danielson. Danielson back to position number 5 as the 81 begins to pull away a little bit and tries to catch those top 3. The 81 looks fast so far.
The 81 looks fast. Another car I'm watching also is the 51 there, Justin Faulkner. He is all over the place. He's not really running along the seams or anything. He's going way low like you see right there in 3 and 4 right now. And he's been running way high a little bit too. He's got to be careful. He's picking up a few spots, but he could be also killing the tires. Looks like we got some trouble here, guys.
It's like the 14 of Gary Weston and Ray Schmidt go for a little bit of a ride. Get the replay up for you if we can. It looks like they're just that 112 pushes up the racetrack, ends up getting into the 14. That 12 ends up having to go on to pit road, and he ends up slamming the outside wall there on pit road, so that's a tough end to his night. As you were talking about in the pre-race, aerodynamic damage, that's not going to be easy to fix, especially with these guys not having any resets.
And looking at that replay, the 14 just may have barely caught the same as well, but the 12 coming up, or the 112 coming up into that 14, and 14 going for a ride in the infield, and Gabe mentioned it, and Brian, you mentioned it off the top of the show as well, that the 14 is probably going to have to get some of that massaged out, and it shouldn't be too bad for that driver. Tough break for him, though. Started up near the front of the field in position number 5, and now he's all the way back outside the top 36 laps into this race. He's got a long way to go in this race, but he's got a lot of ground to make up too.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we didn't mention as well earlier. I mean, there's a lot of cars going around this racetrack right now, so if you have any sort of issues, it's not a very long race, so overcoming any sort of problems like you just saw there is not going to be a very good thing to have on your side at the moment.
The 51 made the move there on Paul Fugit a couple laps ago, but Paul's made it past him, and it looks like he's also gotten past the 6 of Joe Owen. So that 45 at Lions Club International Chevrolet moving his way up to the front, Tim. He's got a pretty good car under him for the time being, but he's got to watch those tires. If he gets aggressive here in this first couple laps, it's going to spell doom for him toward the end of the pit stops.
And you look at the gap now, Paul has 2 seconds between himself and Danielson in the 85. So there's really no need to push aggressively right now and get those tires angry at you. Maybe bank on a caution flag, and maybe bank on something that just happened and bring out a caution flag here. A couple of guys having a little bit of an issue. So Paul Fugit right now looking for that yellow flag, but the battle for second is heating up, Brian. There's Curtis Young and Sean Meir up there looking to put on a show, and it's letting Aho get away a little bit here in the 38 car.
Yeah, it definitely is, and we spoke about Sean Meir before the start of the race there. With the points leader, Ivan Jones, not here right now. Sean's definitely, he's got his eyes on the prize here. He wants to win the race and everything, but he's got to think big picture too as well. He can't make a mistake that costs him a bunch of points, because this is a great opportunity for him. He's got to finish in the top 5 to really make this worthwhile, I think. So he's got to stay patient, not make a mistake, not kill himself here. As you see, the 81 Joey Lamb, he actually got under him there.
Yeah, the 81 Joey Lamb, first one to break into that top 3 that didn't start there. He started 6th, working his way up, picks up 3 positions here on lap number 10. I know you two guys, Tim and Brian, you guys haven't been following this series much, but I've been here basically since the preseason. The 38, the 19, and the 00, they're very familiar cars here since the inception of this league. These guys, they started running together. There was a pre-race race at Texas. They had such a good battle, and it ended up with all three of them getting wrecked. And all these guys, they're very comfortable racing around each other. So, these guys, they're going to race hard all night, but they're going to race very, very clean around each other. And it looks like the 19 of Curtis Young, he's actually catching the 38.
Yeah, reeling him in right now. It's now down to 0.2 of a second, and you can see that continuing to shrink. And you look at this field, and that's one thing you mentioned, Gabe. A lot of these drivers are comfortable with each other. Might not be some names that me and Brian recognize on a weekly basis, but I'm going to tell you, these guys are putting on a show thus far. 10 laps, clean and green. Working lap number 11. The 19 of Curtis Young looking really sporty right now in that Go Fast number 19, making tracks number 38, and he gained a lot of time on corner exit that time. Brian, what a drive he had. He's going to look to set up the pass here.
Yeah, he totally is. That's a heck of a run. We've been watching him, and he's been actually running down the 38 here, 2.3 of laps. So as these tires are wearing, you're definitely starting to see some separation between the comers and the goers, as the 19 is trying to be a cover on the 38 there. Another thing I just saw, these cars are starting to get really tight off the corners. The 51 car, we mentioned him earlier, Justin Faulkner, he got really tight out of turn 2 a lap or so ago, and he let off the gas right in front of a couple cars, and he swerved down low to avoid getting run into from behind, and we almost had a disaster back there.
Side by side for the lead, down the front straightaway, Curtis Young leads lap number 12 on to lap number 13. Your new leader set first lead change of tonight. Looks like he's going to pull away just a little bit. You were talking about these guys getting tight, Brian. I noticed that the 38, we got a little bit tight there off of turn 2 last time by, and for some reason, I saw that 19. He was able to pivot that nose back down to the bottom, and that's how he got the run. I want to know how he did that. That was a great move.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like to me the 38 himself is starting to fade here quite a bit, and the 19 still got that thing turning. I mean, it could all just be, believe it or not, how hard you drive the car into the corner, especially the first few laps of a run, can really save that right front or actually kill that right front depending on how you drive it. So the 19's been doing everything right so far, and we'll start looking at some lap times here. Right now I'm going to see if there's anybody catching him, but it looks good for the 19 right now. He's got that thing turning good, and he's giving the field a little bit of a goodbye look.
It looks like he's losing him by about 0.3 a lap. That's a big gap for just being a couple laps. We're nearing about the 1/4 point in this race. These guys, about halfway through a green flag run, Tim, they're going to have to start thinking about if they want a short pit and, kind of turn this into a 3-stop race, or they wouldn't just stick with the 2-stop strategy, as you said, about 30 laps on a tank of fuel. It's decision time.
And if you're going to push it to that lap 30, you're about halfway in this run, so this is the point where you're really going to start making your bed. It looks green flag, but obviously if you come down onto pit road, you're really going to charge that pit road entry, and that's sometimes when we see guys make mistakes and ultimately bring out the caution flag. So that's going to be in their mind as well, as Joey Lamb on the inside in car number 81 making the move on the 00 of Sean Muir for position number 3, and it looks like he's going to take it here. It looks like, Brian, obviously the 19 pulling away from this pack, but these guys within the top 5, it looks like their cars are fairly comfortable for the time being. Racy little battle here for position number 2, heating up. 81, as we mentioned off the offset, looks a little bit fast. Looks like he got some speed underneath him, and he's going to look at position number 2. And, well, he might look at position number 4, too, because here comes the 00 back at him on the inside.
Yeah, the 00 is coming back under the 81 here. Something we want to look at, too, is when we're talking about 3 stops versus 2 stops is we're on lap 17 of this race right now, and we've had a little bit more than a second and a half of fall off, heading more towards actually 2 seconds of fall off. So it's been pretty extreme. You also have to keep in mind, like I was saying, we use accelerated tire wear and fuel usage in this league, so that could be more extreme too as we get going here. So 3 stops, 2 stops, I'm not really sure yet which will be best. We'll have to wait and see. And something I'm really looking for, though, with this racetrack, I mean, the pit road isn't really that hard to get on and off of, so you wouldn't really get yourself in too much trouble here by short pitting as you would to, say like a track like Dover, for instance. That's way more dangerous than doing it here, but I think you're definitely going to see a lot of people go towards the 3 stops here.
It goes at 81 for the third position again. Doesn't look like that 00 has got anything for him this time. At 81, Joey Lamb is clear for that third position. Now he's going to go after the 2 Curtises. I think he's got that 38 in his sights, but that 19, at least for this green flag run, he's pulling away a lot. It's like a half a second gap so far, and that'll probably grow by the time they get back to the start-finish line. Looks like this is the only real battle here on the racetrack. The rest of these guys, and as I say that, looks like back in the pack. A couple guys just racing side by side. We got Ellery Queen, David May, Lynn McNeese, all these guys just kind of battling for the final few positions inside the top 30. Nothing really big here on the racetrack, but these guys, they're kind of settling each other out. They know where they're going to run. As I said, the gap kind of increases a little bit more that time, that 0.8 of a second on the racetrack. That is your lead between the 2 Curtises, 19 and the 38.
Yeah, most of these battles happening outside the top 20. Chad Payne in the 9 on the outside. The 88 back here, that's David May in 25th place. Or last time by was 25th. He's gaining 1 spot there. But a lot of these battles happening outside. Oh, 9 car into the fence in corner number 3. He gets it off the safer barrier. We stay green, car stays straight, but there's going to be a little bit of damage to that one, and almost got the wall again off corner number 4. But Brian, a lot of these battles happening outside the top 20. We see a lot of quick passes within the top 20 guys setting up a pass, maybe going into a corner, making the move and having him cleared off the corner, and then sets the sights on the next one and continues on and doesn't really mess up that rhythm a whole lot. But these guys back here outside the top 20, they're getting a little racy.
Yeah, they're really getting after it back here. I was just watching the green car, the 420 there of Rusco. I mean, he was riding the bottom, and just as I say that, he's rim riding now towards the top as he's got the 84 under him there. These guys are kind of all over the racetrack, using up every little bit of it, which is fine. But you're right, Tim, and I think that has to do a lot with the setup and the track conditions. It's, I mean, it's cloudy over here. It's cool, and I think that leads to cars just making moves very quick and just trying to get it over with. We have a heck of a battle around 20th, though. Are you guys seeing this right here? The 91. Oh, we got trouble. We got trouble down the backstretch.
Gonna get that replay for you on the racetrack. Looks like the 86 gets spun around. That's Steve Cunningham. We're gonna get the replay for you. Come up, see what happened. Looks like he just pulled up, pushed up off the racetrack, got a little bit loose, went to correct it and hit that outside safer barrier. Tried to save it, goes down the apron. No grip down there, ends up spinning it up into the wall. Doesn't collect anybody else. Arca brakes everywhere as everybody just trying to get him in any positions as they can. 3 wide, trying to miss him as I see right there. Everybody gets by him. Everybody does a good job. And now we're going to ride here under caution. Looks like this is going to force the hand of these guys maybe to do that 3-stop strategy. Not as an option, but maybe as a requirement.
Yeah, this might very well set it up, and the way the caution flags do fly from here on in. 22 laps, consecutive green, great run for these guys, but it might not be that last caution flag. It might very well set up something that they can do, a 2-stop strategy from the next caution flag or whatever the case may be. Brian, that's why we are up here and not down on those boxes, because those guys are going to have to make those decisions. They're all coming onto pit road led by the 19 of Curtis Young.
Yeah, and luckily with this call, it's going to be a pretty easy one. This is just going to be 4 tires and fuel for everybody, and when we get, I don't think anybody's going to be doing 2 tires or anything like that. I think it's just 4 across the board. We've run 21 laps under the green flag here. You're going to see 4 all the way around here.
Oh, looks like the 19 Curtis Young misses his pit stall. 19 misses his pit stall just a little bit. He's able to just put it in reverse, back it up. Look for these guys coming off the pit road. 4 tires, Jack drops. The 38 of Curtis Aho is going to be your leader coming off of pit road. Looks like the 81, Joey Lamb, is going to be second off of pit road. And Curtis Young loses 2 positions off of just a minor mistake.
Yeah, and that's all it is, a minor mistake, just barely overshooting the box, and he's going to restart in position number 3 when we go back to green flag racing, qualified in second. Has one of the fastest cars in the racetrack, but Brian said earlier, I like that 81. He showed a lot of speed early in the run. He's going to move to second.
Yeah, I like him. He was looking good, especially the longer we went there. It was looking really good for him. So he's definitely, like we said, he'll be licking his chops along with the 00 here. still trying to take advantage of the 53 car's misfortunes by not being here for this race. So be interesting to see how this goes when we restart.
That's one thing we're going to be looking forward to, that green flag dropping again. 38 Curtis Aho picks up 2 positions on pit road, ends up being your leader when we get back underway. We're going to take this time to take a commercial break here on LSRTV. We'll be right back here from Michigan for the Owens Towing 160. Back here live at Michigan, lights are out on top of the American Childhood Cancer Association Ford Mustang pace car. It's going to pull to pit road this time. Curtis Aho is your leader in that green 38. He's got that 81 Joey Lamb to the outside of him. 2 Ford Fusions on the front row. Behind them, another Ford Fusion of the 19 of Curtis Young, followed by the 00 of Sean Meir. Green flag back in the air. Good restart from that 38. Looks like the 81's going to push just a little bit high here on the restart. Here comes that 45 of Paul Fugit.
And the 19 going to follow the leader through. Aho is going to have company with the 19. The 81 going to try to find a spot in the line. 45 fills the spot. We're going to go side by side at a corner number 2. 45 takes the spot. And here comes, 81 to the fence. He's going to chase it down the racetrack. We might be 3 wide before we hit 3, Brian.
We might just be. Look at that 51 on the high side there. Justin Faulkner, he's trying to clear the 81 coming off of this corner. Not sure if it's going to work. You know, Tim, we were talking about before the break. I was saying, I like the 81. I don't like it now. When you plow down that wall with that right side, it's going to make this tight setup even tighter.
The 51 Faulkner is going to get that position on the 81. He's going to fight back down to the inside there on the bottom side of the racetrack. Not going to happen. That momentum's going to carry him. Looks like he's also going to carry that 33. That row started 17th. Now he's up to 6th. Going for, looks like 5th. Yeah, he's going for that 5th position on the 81 of Joey Lamb. He's going to get that position. So 2 positions lost in 1 lap for that 81 Joey Lamb after hitting the wall. Look in front of them. These guys, that 45 Paul Fugit, he's having a great run, guys.
He was fairly confident before we went on air here this evening that he was going to have a good run. He's chasing down that number 19 of Curtis Young for position number 2. Rose nearly popped the farm on the 51 of Justin Faulkner behind, almost missed the corner and almost got in to the Napa Auto Parts number 51 in corner number 1. He falls back behind. They are in a single file line, but look up front. Aho now has a 0.7 of a second lead on the 19. But Brian, the one thing that I did notice on that run of 20 laps that we had, Curtis Young's car, looks like he saved a little bit in the first 10 laps or so and then kind of pushed on the pedal a little bit harder per se and abused those tires in the second half of that run.
That's exactly right, Tim. I think we're getting ready to see a repeat of that. It looks like the 38's actually going pretty decently hard right now, and the 19 might just be sitting there riding around. And you know, while the 19's maybe trying to save his tires, he's got, you know, the 45 car right behind him putting some pressure on him. So like I was saying before with the double-edged sword, not only are you trying to save your tires, but you're also trying to hang on to your track position as well. The 19 really swung it down hard there into the corner. But we'll see what happens with this. It's just something, it's a little bit of a distraction as a driver when you're trying to save your tires and you have somebody riding your bumper that might not necessarily want to do that, but just part of racing.
I don't know. It looks like the 38 of Curtis Aho is maybe saving a little bit there, Brian and Tim, because he ran a 37.013 there the first few laps of the race, and he ended up, it took him about maybe 5 or 6 laps to get down into the 5 6/10 of a second bracket. He's already running that, so I think he's just, kind of saving just a little bit, but he's still pulling away. So I think that 19 is still going to win that battle, but he's losing it right now because that 45 of Paul Fugit, he got past there on the back straightaway. He's moved up to second, so great run, getting better for him.
Yeah, Fugit making some great passes here off the first couple laps of this green flag run, and he's moved himself up to second. But the driver that I'm watching is Brad Roast in the 33. Talked about him earlier, trying to make the move on the inside of the number 51. He tried the outside line there into 1 and 2, and that did not work. He's going to lose a couple car lengths. 51 of Faulkner going to get up to the 19 of Curtis Young as he looks to the inside of Fugit for position number 2. The 19 trying to get back what he just lost a lap ago. They'll be side by side off corner number 4. The 19 going to look to the inside of the 45. And Paul's going to give him a little bit of room here as a tango down into corner number 1. Looks like the 19 going to have that inside line, Brian.
Yeah, totally, and we're talking about the 38 car maybe saving a little bit more tire than he was, from the first run. If these guys just keep racing behind him, it's not going to matter as much. You'll see the 38 lead more of this run if these guys are more occupied with racing each other from behind. The 38 can just focus on hitting his marks and, making good corners and everything. And, we're talking about the 33 car behind this battle now that you see for third. The 33 car has actually come from 17, so he's done a great job coming up through this field through the first run, and now as we get into the second run here, he's doing a great job. He's holding a pretty wheel.
Speaking of that 33 coming from 17th position, let's go ahead and look at some of your biggest movers alongside him. Looks like that 48 Ryan Steinacker. He started in the 24th position in that 48 car. He's up to 8th right now, and right behind him, started in the 12th position. A couple positions made up. Looking out through the field, looks like 23rd starter David Gainforth in the 101 started 23rd, and he's up to 14th. Some of your biggest losers here, trying to look through your field. Everybody kind of holding station. It looks like David May started in 30th position and went 19th. A lot of these guys just moving up through the field, and if they didn't move up, or if they haven't moved up, they've kind of just held station. Looks like we got one car smoking.
And he's sitting down on pit road at the time, out of the way that it would be the 29 car that is sitting on pit road and sporting a little bit of smoke. That's Brent Scott. He's scored his 31st position, and you're looking through this field. The only driver that really started near the front of the field had that incident earlier. That was the 14 of Gary Wesson. He's back outside the top 30. The 38 though continues to pull away from this one. Curtis Young in second, and Fugit continues to try to take that spot away, but now he's under fire from Faulkner. 51 car taking a peek to the inside, and Brian, it almost looks like the 51 and the 33, when they're trying to set up these passes, they're a little more cautious, maybe underfoot the 33, pitched it into the inside of the 45, and that's what we talk about there, Brian. He's into the inside trying to make that pass, and it's almost like I don't want to say regrets it halfway down the corner, but he almost realizes that he's in over too deep.
Yeah, he didn't look too cautious there, so I'm not sure about that one. But no, I know exactly what you're saying there. It's like he gets into it and he's like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Then he's like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't do that. Luckily, it hasn't caused a problem yet. I'm hoping we might be able to get some camera footage on what happened with the 29 there, Brent Scott. But it looked like he took a massive hit back there, and I'm very surprised we're still under the green flag here, but as we are, this run continues. The 38, Curtis Aho, still holding on to that lead, and really the 19 hasn't topped into that margin yet, so he's still got a 1.5 second lead. So he's holding up so far better than the last run.
Well, he's still got that 51 of Justin Faulkner breathing down his neck, so I think that 38's not the biggest worry of that 19. He's got to deal with that 51 of Faulkner, and right behind those guys, Paul Fugit, he's just kind of holding station along with the 33 of Rosa, top 5 holding station here. Looks like Joey Lamb right behind them. He's kind of stabilized after losing a couple positions there off the restart. 33 to the back bumper. The 45, though, he's going to look for a move here. He's going to duck. He doesn't have the momentum down the back straightaway. Not going to happen for him this time. These guys, we're a couple laps after the restart, and they're kind of still moving and shaking, trying to get as many positions as they can. That's one thing about these fixed setup series. They're very competitive, and, the green flag racing, it really never really dulls down.
And when you look at this run, we had the pit stop around 24-25 under the caution flag, and now we're at lap number 37. So we're looking at about 12, 13, 14 laps or so on this run. This is about halfway through.
33!
33 in the wall.
Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that was a huge hit from the 33 car. Not meaning to laugh at his misfortune there, but that could have been way worse than that. It looked like initially he pounded the wall really hard, but as we look back at it now, he didn't hit it near as hard, but that was almost a major incident.
Brian, very excited about a little bit of action here on the restart. But 33 recovers there from getting hit on the outside wall. Looks like he's under fire there from the 85 of Judd Danielson. Whoa, big jump. Big jump from the 38 and the 19. 19 to the back bumper of the 38 as they come off of turn 4. What just happened? How did he get him that fast?
38 had to have some sort of slip up there, and I know Cisco's looking through trying to figure out what happened, but man, the 19 is there. He's under putting the pressure on the number 38 of Aho for the lead position, and you look back, Faulkner's now only about a half second behind this battle. 19 off of corner number 2, another great run, and here he goes to the inside. The 19 turns up the afterburner per se, Brian, and he's going to go to the lead here, or at least look at it on the inside.
Yeah, Tim, you know, Gabe was saying that the 38 may have been saving his tires a little bit better this run, but I'm not a believer anymore. I'm sorry, Gabe. But yeah, the 19 really took off there. I think the 38's really starting to slide back here as these tires really get some wear on them. So I was a little bit worried when he jumped out to that big lead, and I thought, okay, maybe he's taking it a little bit easier now, but doesn't look like it's the case.
Yeah, it looks like the 38 just lost, or he just lost the lead fair and square. That 19 got him. I didn't see any mistakes from the past few laps that he would have been able to catch him.
Yeah, I'm looking back here too, Gabe, and I don't see anything that really sets apart, trying to maybe a different corner entry and a corner exit there to keep that 19 at bay, but it just looked like the 19 ran him down and passed the 38 for the lead position. And we said when we went back green, Brian, that we'll have to see what happens with the 19 and see if he conserves tires, and he was better on the second half of the first run, and once again, lo and behold, here's the 19 car leading our field down the back straightaway on lap 41.
Yeah, and you know, Tim, someone I want to talk about too, the 81 of Joey Lamb, you know, he pounded into the wall right after that last restart. I thought he was going to be out to lunch more than he is. He's actually done a really good job hanging on to the 5th position there. He was under attack from Sean Muir a couple of laps ago, but he kind of held him off, and just as I say that, here comes the 00 right to his back bumper. But the 81's done a good job managing the damage here. I'm really interested to see if we get another yellow if he takes the time to repair it. He's done a good job hanging on, but that car is definitely not up to its full potential at the moment.
Lap 42 here. We are halfway here in the Owens Towing 160. So we're going to do our iRacing Midway race break. Brought to you by iRacing Motorsports Simulation, the official motorsports partner of NASCAR. 19, Curtis Young is your leader. Curtis Aho in second. That 38 just lost the lead a couple of laps ago. 45, Paul Fugit in third. 51, Justin Faulkner in fourth. Joey Lamb in fifth. Sean Muir in sixth. Brad Roast in the 33 started 17th, running 7th, 8th right now. Judd Danielson, 48. Ryan Steinacker, 9th position, and 10th position of Ray Richer in 44.
The 11th place car was the 78 Mike Donahue, but he's down on pit road. We could see some green flag pit stop starting here. Now 11th, though, is Joe Owen. 12th is going to be Dave Gainforth, and he's got some lap traffic underneath him at the 8. Just behind him, it's Philip Mayer in the 17. The 20 of Eric Hawk. Jim Walking in the number 91, going to run in position number 15. And he is under fire here. What a battle that he is in with the 20. The 88 of David May is in this fracas as well. Michael Fravert in the 36, a part of this 4-car battle here, which would be for 14th position. You look back behind them, you got Gary Brown in 18th. He's under fire from Ellery Queen in the 19th place position in the 62, and then Len McNeese rounds out your top 20.
21st position right now, started 5th, running 21st. 14 of Gary Weston, Robin McFarland running 22nd, Chad Payne in 23rd in that 9 car. 420 Russ Coe running 24th, Don Norris in 25th. 26 right now, Gerald Heffley, Joshua Ramos Mike Donahue, Marcus Potts, first car, 1 lap down, also 1 lap down. The 30th position, Dean Viney. Justin Anderson running 31st right now. Tyler Roberts in 32nd. Brent Scott, Steve Cunningham, and Ray Schmidt round out your field right now. 35 drivers on the racetrack. Brent Rogers did not take the field, or take the green, as did Ivan Jones in that 53. As we run through our 35-car field, this has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. As we were talking about, maybe some green flag pit stops developing here around halfway. Tim, this is just about the time for these guys to do it. Maybe a couple more laps when we get in that 30, 35 lap range there on fuel, but this is getting close.
Ryan Steinacker just went through the grass here a couple laps ago, Gabe, and I was looking at the live timing and scoring and thinking, okay, he went down pit road because he was up near the top 10, and then looked back at the replay and realized that he went straight through the infield, and that's one way to get to victory lane, is going through the infield here at Michigan, but it's not going to get there that quickly. The 48 has fallen back to 23rd, and Brian, we did see the 70, I believe it was, peel off caution.
We got a caution. We got a caution here, lap 47, and everybody say it with me. This changes.
Oh my gosh, you guys, it's the double zero, Sean Muir.
Yeah, Brian, there was 3 of them involved there.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like we had a 3-car incident here. Exiting turn 4, let's...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like the 81 pushed up the racetrack, 51 was pushing down, and he just pushed up into the double zero. Ended up spinning the 51 in the process. Hard damage for all 3 of them.
You guys remember when I was saying the double zero needed to have a strong top 5 run to make up a ton of points there on Ivan Jones for not being here in this race? Well, that just didn't happen. Yep.
Championship implications here on lap 48. We're going to get behind the pace car and do some pit stops here. These guys should take 4 tires, and this should be our final pit stop of the night, Tim. So we're going to ride here behind the pace car, hopefully for the final time, and we're going to see these guys on the pit road for hopefully the final time.
And we might see some guys conserving. This is where it's going to come down to, because we're going to have a 30-lap run to the finish of this race, or 31 laps to the end of this race from this pit stop, not counting the couple of caution laps before we go green. So we might see some guys conserving. And if it does shape up the way it will, if it does go green, I really like the 19 car's chances. But then again, I said that about the 81, Brian Schoenberg, and he's got more damage that he needs to buff out now.
Yeah, I think for the field's sake, we're not going to say we like anyone for the rest of this race, but I definitely, knock on wood here, I really like the 19's chances here. So here comes everybody down pit road. It's definitely going to be 4 tires and fuel, and from here, you're right. If it goes green, this is our last stops, definitely coming down pit road here.
One thing we didn't notice, guys, under the green flag right before that caution, Paul Fugit in the 45 ended up running up to the 2nd position.
They're all down on pit road right now, and Curtis Young, it looked like he had a better entry into his box than he did before. He overshot the last time, and it's going to be clean coming off. 19 going to win the race off pit road. The 38 of Aho going to be second, and it looks like Paul Fugit going to fall back 1 spot. So that exchange here is going to move that 38 up. And Brian, here's the one thing that I want to watch in this restart as well. The 38 was so strong, albeit the guys behind him, once he got out into clean air, went side by side. They battled for a little while. It helped him get an advantage. But that 38 car running in second right now, we'll see how quickly he can get back out in front of this field, or if he can, maybe he'll conserve a little bit behind the number 19.
Yeah, and I think the way it's going to go, Tim, is how far out is the 19 going to let the 38 get ahead of him before the 19 figures it's time to pull the trigger and get going and run him back down. This is going to be very interesting to see how the 19 manages this restart. If I were the 19, I think he should just keep doing it the way he's doing, because it obviously works out after a few laps. So be interesting to see how they do this here.
Well, we're at an interesting point in the race. We're over halfway, and we've seen these guys on pit road for hopefully the final time. We're going to get some insight from one of the drivers here in the field, Paul Fugit, LSRTV booth at 45. You got a copy?
10-4, how are you guys doing?
Doing good up here. We've been watching you work your way up through the field. You came in on pit road. You came in second, ended up working your way past the 38. You're going to line up third here for the restart on that inside lane. That's almost a perfect situation. We've seen that outside lane not be able to hold it there on the restart. You think you got a chance of getting the lead?
Oh, definitely, but we're going to be a little close on fuel here if we're going to make it or not. But it's all come down to tire wear, who can save their tires the best right now.
Coming down to tire wear, that's what we've been talking about. You know, have you been really aggressive on your tires, or have you been saving it like we've seen the 19 of Curtis Young doing?
I'll let you guys figure that one out.
Puff, you get everybody. But Paul, as we ride here under caution, you know, this is one of the best runs we've seen you having. You know, and I believe you said that you won a practice race here, so you've had a lot of practice on this racetrack. Did you have this much confidence coming into tonight, you know, thinking that you could win this race because you're in a prime position to do it?
Well, it's just been luck this year in Domino's, and now that I got this new computer rig, thanks to everybody chipping in and helping me get in this thing, I feel totally confident now that we could go out here and start winning some races and getting some top fives now.
You heard it first here, folks. Brand new equipment on that Lions Club International Chevrolet. So, Paul, we're going to let you go, get back to your team. We're going to go ahead and ride here under caution for it looks like the final time lights are going to go out this time. Hopefully, good luck, and we'll be keeping the cameras on you for the rest of the night.
Yeah, hopefully I can put on a good show for you guys.
So it looks like the field going to double up here and get ready to go back to green. And Brian, I'm going to be interested to see how he uses that new equipment. Does Paul Fugit in position number 3? And you know yourself. You get a new video card, you get a new CPU, you get a new power supply, you get something new, motherboard, whatever it is in your computer, and you feel like Superman. I'm sure, Paul, that's the way he feels right now, and you can hear it in that interview.
Yeah, totally. And it sounds like he's got a lot of confidence in that equipment, meaning, you know, he's obviously tested it and whatnot before this race, so he knows everything he's got under it's going to be working fine, and he shouldn't have any sort of issues. I was hoping while we still had him on the scanner there, we could tell him just do what the 19 does here on this restart, but we didn't get a chance to do that. So, you know, like you said, he's run the practice race for this and everything, so he should know how to play this out. But if I were a betting person or a driver in this race, I'd probably follow the 19's pace because he's got this figured out pretty good.
Well, the 19, he's got to have about maybe 1-to-1 odds because he's been one of the more dominant cars this year. He's got to win this year, I do believe. We're going to look here. No, he has not got a win this year. He's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 94 laps led. But he's got a big number, 46 incidents this year out of 6 starts. So he just cannot keep it out of trouble. He's going to look to keep it out of trouble this time. We're going to ride here. Pace car is going to pull off. Green flag back up in the air this time. Green flag back in the air this time. 19, Curtis Young is going to be your leader. Curtis Ayo on the outside. Ayo gets a good jump there. Big stack up back in the pack. Final cars outside the top 20. That outside lane's fighting that 38 to the outside.
And as they go side by side, we got some new names up here in the top 5, or at least one new name. Ray Richer in the 44 has made his way up into position number 4 as he'll fall into line single file. The 38 will take the lead off corner number 2. The 19 falls back into the clutches of Fugit as the 45 takes a little peek on the back bumper of the number 19. The 44 keeping right with them, and then Brad Roast in position at number 5 and looking to make some gains in that number 33 car. Watch for the next couple laps, Brian. Seems like once he gets those tires warmed up, he starts to make those moves near the front.
Yeah, totally, Tim. And speaking of gains, the 101 car of David Gain, 4th, has just moved up into the 7th position. That's a name we haven't really brought it that much, but here he comes towards the end of the race. I'm sorry, that was horrible.
We bring you in the booth one time and you pull the pun game, huh?
Yep.
Well, Gain 4th coming up. He is in 7th position. One more car right in front of him. That's 17, Philip Meyer. He's been pretty dominant there in the truck series. At 17, running 6 right now, going after the top 5 position of Brad Roast. If he can get it, that 33's got a strong car here tonight. Looks like we got a change up front. That 19, Curtis Young, got the lead that time by, so a new leader. It's been the Curtis show all night here. I don't believe anybody else has led.
And it looked like the 38 in the middle of corners number 1 and 2 had a solid run and looked like he was going to get that momentum off corner number 2. Brian just couldn't get anything working. Now the 19 going to get that awesome corner entry into corner number 3. Looks good for the 19 of Curtis Young, and he might tack on another car length between himself and the 38 car. But those two have been battling back and forth throughout this race. They qualified on the front row. They currently run 1-2. And everybody else right now playing chase. Paul Fugit in position number 3 is about a half second behind this battle.
Tim, are we seeing a role reversal here? Are we seeing the 38 actually saving tires instead of the 19? Not so fast as you see them battling for the lead. When they're racing like this is putting the 45 car over there, Paul, in prime position right now, actually, because these two might be using up their tires a little bit more. Even if they're saving them, they're using them up a little bit too by racing like this. So the 45 could be in prime position.
Yep, 19 still your leaders. We cross lap 55 on lap 66. Everybody really holding station for the time being. Looks like back here in the pack 33, Brad Roasty dives in the turn 1. Gets that little bit of good run there off of turn 2. We're going to pay a few bills here. We've got Domino's, the official sponsor of the Domino's TYJ Cup Series and the Domino's TYJ Den Defenders Truck Series, both series here on LSRTV. They're sponsored by, of course, Domino's. With Domino's new Piece of the Pie rewards, you can earn a free pizza after just 6 online orders of $10 or more. Sign up at www.dominos.com/rewards. Domino's, oh yes we did. And also we've got to thank race sponsor Owens Towing, of course the sponsor of the Owens Towing 160. They've got one simple motto: if you need a tow, call Joe. That's great company. I don't believe they've had an unsponsored race this year, so Domino's doing a very good job of getting the sponsorship for the races. They had a promise there when they started this series, $2,000 purse up for grabs for all winners. These guys, they're keeping up with it because they've had a lot of winnings go around, not just for winners, but guys coming up through the field stuff. So these guys racing hard, they stay in the sessions, and they get rewarded.
And right now, we are being rewarded with an awesome battle for the lead. The 38, a couple laps ago, took the inside on the 19, just could not get the run off of the corner to complete the pass on Curtis Young. Aho sits back in position number 2 and continues to try to make that move, Brian, but it just seems like he can't set up that pass. And you mentioned earlier trying to conserve tires. He just might be trying to run the pace the 19 did and try to figure out what he did on those first 2 runs, because keep in mind, if this thing goes green, these guys are likely staying out for the duration. Got to save some tires, so maybe the 38 is trying to take a page out of the 19's book here.
Yeah, totally, and that would be a very heads-up driving move on his part, because one of the things you look for, obviously, as a race car driver is you look for faults in yourself, and, just faults in where you're getting beaten, throughout time. So if the 38's been paying attention and he's seen the 19 yard him the last 2 green flag runs after an extended period of time, maybe he took notes of that and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to do what the 19 does. 2 can play at that game. So if he's doing that, that's obviously very heads up. But actually, we're going to have a heck of a battle here. 3rd and 4th have actually caught these 2. So this is shaping up to be one whale of a battle here.
Yeah, Ray Richard hadn't talked about him all night until the last restart. He started 11th up to 4th. Paul Fugit, of course, started 7th up to 3rd. 2 top drivers, they've swapped positions from the drop of the green flag here tonight on lap 1. Curtis Young started on the outside pole. Curtis Aho started in that pole position, and they've kind of swapped that lead all night. And one thing to think about, not just the tires, Paul was talking about there under caution when we brought him up here. They're pretty short there on fuel, so Curtis Aho, he may be riding behind that 19, kind of running a little bit of a cracked throttle, just trying to save as much fuel as he can.
Yeah, that might be something to watch for as well. We had, I think, 32 or 31 laps when we went back green, or when we had that caution flag pit stop, so it's going to be close. Speaking about close, here comes the 38 once again to the inside of the 19, and setting the pass up off the corner might not be the best place to do so. And as they battle, the 45 has closed in on that battle. We have a 3-way dance with lead position, and don't look now, the 44 of Ray Richards also closing in. Brian, how many times have we call Ray's name all night long? It hasn't been very many.
No, he's definitely been someone that looks like he's been managing the race, and, I was going to say taking care of the car, but he's got some damage all the way around that car, it looks like, but it's still fast enough where he's up here now, and You know, he's been taking care of it, and here he is right towards the end of the race. Another thing I want to mention too is we saw, you may have seen it at the corner of your screen, the 29, Brent Scott. He was in an incident earlier that we weren't able to get footage of. His motor just expired in that machine. He was creeping down towards pit road as we stay lean and green.
Like he's going to be about one of about 5 cars out of the race here tonight. It's like about 5 or 6 cars there off the lead lap, but still on the racetrack. No, excuse me, 4 because Jim Locking dropped out of the server. But looking back here toward the back of the pack here, the backside of the top 5, or as soon as I went to talk about him, it kind of changed a little bit because the 17 had caught that 33 of Brad Roast, but as soon as he caught him, I guess the tires went away and that 17 sliding back just a little bit.
And starting to get a little bit of separation between some of these drivers up here in the top 10. Your top 3 have broken away by about 4 car lengths over Ray Richer. So as soon as we mention his name, looks like Richer falls back off this 3-car tandem a little bit. And look at the 19 start to step it up a little bit as well. He's pulled away by about 5 car lengths from this battle for position number 2. The 45 looking at the 38 now for that P2 spot. Taking to the inside. He's not going to get there into corner number 1. But Brian, you look behind them. You mentioned the 33-17. 36 is running all by himself right now, and then we got a side-by-side battle between Steinacre and Hawk, and David Gainforth is there as well, looking to make some gains as they go down the back straightaway.
He's definitely trying to make some gains. He's below the apron. He let off. He took care of it. He's definitely running a smart race right there. Now he's side-by-side with the 23 of Gary Brown. Is he going to clear him? Kind of right there. This is all right around 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. But the battle up front, I mean, how can you lose focus of that? It looks like, you know, we mentioned Curtis Young starting to stretch it out a little bit.
Looks like Philip Meyer finally passes Brad Roast for 5th. He's going to get around him and pull away. But yeah, it looks like that battle's getting ready to heat up once again. 45 Paul Cougar to the inside of the 38 of Curtis Aho. Going to slide up the racetrack. He's going to have to let off, but that momentum, second place, changes hands. Paul Fugate in that 45 Lions Club International Chevrolet pulls to the front of that 38 of Curtis Aho. That Ford Fusion dropping back to 3rd. Now that 45 is going to have to reel in that number 19 of Curtis Young. These guys, looks like they're getting ready for another green flag run here. Looks like we got about 13, 14 laps to go here. We're going to go LSRTV non-stop. We're going to go to commercial break and be back for the finish of this one. This is the Owens Towing 160 at Michigan International Speedway.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion, and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
Back here live, LSRTV's coverage of the Domino's TYJ Cup Series here at Michigan for the Owens Towing 160. Gabriel Wood in the booth, Tim Terry and Brian Schoenberg on the call tonight. We're inside 10 laps to go here. Curtis Young is your leader. 45, Paul Fugit having a good run. He's catching him just a little bit, gap coming down ever so slightly, but it's not going to be enough, Tim. If Paul can make up some time here in the next couple laps, we could have a great battle for the lead in the final closing laps.
You know, we saw it a little bit earlier with Curtis Aho on that second green flag run, and Curtis Young ran him down within a couple of laps, and the tires went away on the 38, and the 19 blew past him. So I don't know if Paul can very well do the same thing on Curtis Young, but Brian, time is slowly running out here. We're going to have 8 laps to go when we come by the stripe this time.
Time's slowly running out, and if you're the 33 car, Brad Rose, you're wishing that time ran out, because coming off of turn 2 a second ago, he just caught the wall pretty good. They've been battling really hard here. 4th, 5th, 6th, it's Richer, Rose, Meyer. They've been all over the place battling each other, and the 17's trying to clear the 33 off of turn 4 there. He couldn't do it, and he lifted off the accelerator. But this is a heck of a battle right here. But as I said, the 33 caught the wall pretty good, exiting turn 2 the last lap. So he wants the time to run out for sure. And actually, looks like at our battle for the lead there, the 19 pulled away from Fugit by a couple tenths there. So it's not looking too good for the battle for the lead.
Tires starting to fall away on both cars, but not that much for that 19. He's still running a good line, that 45. Well, Fugit looks like he's running just a little bit higher, just trying to not scrub off his tires. 19 almost pushes it up into the wall there off of turn 2, but he keeps it under control. Meanwhile, in no man's land, that 38 of Curtis Aho, he's got nobody to play with. He wore out his tires there. He ended up leading a couple laps, but he just hasn't been able to save his tires all night, and this is the part where it kind of bites him. He's got a good lead, so he's got a top 3 finish locked up if he can just keep the car under him, but he would really want to get up front and fight for this win.
And he's got a little bit of insurance behind him, because he's got about 3 seconds between himself and this battle for 4th, which is shaping up. Richard has put himself into the battle for a top 5 spot after that last caution flag pit stop, but now he's got Brad Roast right behind him. And Meyer has fallen back here by about 4 car lengths off the back bumper of the number 33. So if he wants anything in the remaining 6 laps of this race, he's really going to have to step it up in order to at least get a top 5 run out of this one. Then about 2 seconds back, and Steinacre and Gainforth are going at it. Gainforth trying to reel in that 48, about 2 car lengths or so between himself and that position number 7. And they're battling all amongst themselves right now. So Brian, looks like a couple of 2, 3, 4 car battles throughout this field. And it looks green, knock on wood, for the next 5 laps.
Yeah, and just as you're saying that, I was just watching a 3-wide battle back around 10th, 11th, 12th. The 30, was that the 36 right? No, it wasn't. But anyway, the 41 of Robert McFarland, he almost got a piece of Joe Owen a lap or so ago. That was one heck of a battle that luckily, disaster was pretty much averted there. But one car I was watching, the 70 car may have just come out of the pits, because he is flying by people. We were talking about the difference between new and old tires throughout this race. I think the 70's got some new tires there, because he is hauling the mail past these guys at the moment.
Yeah, looking back at the times, it looks like he's pitted on lap 63. Well, was that the caution? I don't know. Maybe he just saved his tires for a few laps. People. Yeah, maybe he just saved his tires for a few laps.
The 70 was the one that peeled off a little bit earlier on that last caution flag, pulled off under green to come down onto pit road. So I'm not sure if he's not taking as much fuel as he is before, Brian, or whatever the case may be, but he's going to come up on this battle with the 101 and the 48, coming through the inside, and he's going to move by these guys, but he's hoping to get a top 20 finish out of this if 3 cars can fall out of line here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, totally. And now we have a battle for, what is that? That's 4th place right there. The 33 just lifted off the gas right in front of the 17 of Meyer. Meyer's going to get 2 for 1, maybe.
17, 2 for 1 special in the front straightaway. He gets it up to 4th, and here comes that outside lane. Not over yet. We're going to be 3 wide, maybe, by the time they get off of turn 2.
And he's going to come up over the seems contact made. 33 going to save it off the 44. And now here comes the 70 on those new tires. Pardon me, coming through. As the 33 is going to have to reset himself. And it almost made me a little bit nervous, Brian, when he went down there to that extreme inside line and started coming up through those seams. And now he's going to have to reset. He's back to the 44 right now. And Philip Mayer's loving this. He's pulling away from these guys.
Oh, Philip's definitely loving this. I told you guys that 70 car was going somewhere. He definitely was there, but this is a heck of a battle right here. This is for 5th. I mean, as a race car driver, there's nothing worse than finishing 6th or 11th because you just barely missed the top 5, you just barely missed the top 10, and that 33 is determined not to be that person that barely missed the top 5 here. No matter how many times he's hit the wall with the right side or touched it off someone or anything, he's still going.
Coming off of turn 4, white flag in the air. One more lap to go for Curtis Young for his first win of the year. Looks like we're going to have a first-time winner here in the Domino's TYJ Cup Series at Michigan. If everything holds station, Paul Fuga in second. No shot on catching that 19 as they roll through turns 1 and 2. Curtis Aho started on the pole. He's running in that 3rd position, final podium spot. Still some positions up for grabs, as you said, back half of the top 5. But your leader, he's out there all by himself, and barring an act of God or an act of Sunoco race fuel, he's going to get this win coming off of turn 4. The 19er Curtis Young is going to roll to the checkered flag here at Michigan. Win number 1 on the year for 2016.
Paul Fuga going to come across the line here in position number 2. No contest from behind. Aho going to finish in position number 3, and it looks like Brad Roast had a moment here coming off the final corner, and he is going to finish in position number 8. Brian, did you catch what happened there?
I think what I caught was I cursed him by saying he's determined to finish in the top 5. It looks like he ran out of gas here coming out of turn 4. So that's exactly what happened. He ran out of gas coming straight to the line. He still finished 8th, but didn't get that top 5. It could have been way worse though for him.
Where did Ryan Steinacker come from? Ended up finishing in 5th position, capitalizing on the 44 having to run high to miss the that 33 running out of fuel. Final top 5 spot's got to go to that 48. Amazing run for him in the final couple laps.
And it's almost like the Xfinity finish a couple of weeks ago where the 33 tried to go up to the outside line, maybe to block the 44, thinking it's going to catch again. I'm going to get some more fuel to get across the line. But Ray Richer finishes in 6th, and David Gainforth was battling with that 48. He's going to finish in 7th. Roast May and Joe Owen in the 6th comes home with a top 10 finish.
As Curtis Young rolls around this racetrack celebrating, doing some victory laps and doing some donuts here at Michigan. We're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back with your top 3 finishers here live in the Owens Towing 160 at Michigan International Speedway. We'll be right back. Live here at Michigan International Speedway, the Owens Towing 160 has concluded. We're here at the LSRTV post-race show. Curtis Young is your winner. We're going to go ahead and give you a full field rundown. Finishing second, best finish on the year, Paul Fugit in the 45 in that second position. Last car on the podium, that 3. Curtis Aho brings it home in that 38 car. Philip Meyer ends up having a good charge in the final couple of laps. Finishes 4th. Ryan Steinacker in 5th. Ray Richer in that 6th position, David Gainforth in 7th, Brad Rose, David May, and Joe Owen in that 6th, round out your top 10.
Robert McFarland was trying to get up there in the top 10 at the end of the race, but has to settle for position number 11. Harry Weston probably had the most eventful night of the evening. Came from the front, went to the back, and is going to settle for position number 12 after starting in 5th. Ellery Queen is 13th, 14th, Len McNeese, Eric Hawk, Gary Brown, Russ Coe, Justin Faulkner after running up front, going to finish in 18th. Michael Frabert and Chad Payne complete your top 20.
Marcus Potts in that 21st position. 22nd position, last car on the lead lap. On Norris in that 15. Couple cars, one lap down. 23rd, Gerald Heffley. Mike Donahue finishes 24th. 25th, Joshua Ramos. Dean Viney in that 71. 27th, Justin Anderson. Tyler Roberts finishes 28th. 3 laps down. 29th. Judd Danielson. Jim Locking ended up finishing 30th, 27 laps down.
And finishing in 31st, Joey Lamb. We talked about him a little bit earlier, running up front near the front of the field. He and John Meyer got caught up in an incident about midway through the race. They finished more than 30 laps down apiece. Brent Scott, Steve Cunningham, and Ray Schmidt complete the drivers that started this evening's race. Let's go down to victory lane with Abe, who's caught up with our winner, first-time winner in the Cup Series this season. It's Curtis Young.
Yep, first-time winner, Cup Series, as Tim said. Curtis Young, congratulations on win number 1 of the 2016 season, the inaugural season of the Domino's Cup Series. You brought it home in victory lane. You even had enough fuel to do some victory burnouts, unlike some of the other guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I just start to finish, I was just trying to save tires because I know this track is pretty abrasive, so that was the plan. I made one small mistake on pit road that cost me a few positions, but I ended up getting them back, so.
Yeah, it was kind of like a rubber band effect, really. That 38 would jump out to a huge lead, and as you said, you'd save your tires just kind of riding about a second back. And then, with about 20 laps to go, the 38 was in the lead. We just saw you absolutely run him down in those in a couple of laps. What was going through your head when you caught him by about, 8/10 in 2 laps?
Well, I practiced a lot with Curtis Aho, so I knew that I was going to be a bit faster in the long run, and he was going to be a bit faster in the short run. We weren't really battling each other too hard when we got to each other because we knew that pretty much, so just settled for what it was, and I guess it turned out pretty good.
I'm looking here at the points. Sean Muir ended up crashing out. Ivan Jones could not take the green flag. Jim Locking disconnected. And Mike Donahue, he finishes outside the top 20. So you're the only car inside the top 5 in points to finish inside the top 20. So congratulations. You've got a huge points lead going into next week.
Yeah, sometiends you need that.
Now, as we run through the second part of this schedule, you think you got a chance to keep this consistency up and end up running for this Domino's championship?
Yeah, well, I got a win, so I'm locked in now to the chase. I'm just going to be trying to put down some consistent finishes. I definitely wanted to get a win to lock myself in rather than have to make it in through points. So I'm happy about that.
All right, Curtis, we're going to let you celebrate, but first, thank those sponsors on the hood of your car. They get you here. Go ahead and name them off.
I'd just like to thank everybody who watches and my teammates.
That's Curtis Young, your winner in that 19 first win on the year. Tim, I believe you've caught up with a couple of guys. First off, that 45 of Paul Fugit.
Let's talk to Paul Fugit first. Finishes in position number 2. And Paul, it looked like for a little while in that last run, you're going to have something for the 19. What happened?
He saved his tires better than I did. That was basically what happened there. I mean, Mr. Young, I don't know how he does it, but he just seems to save tires and stay fast better than any of us out here right now. So hopefully we can figure out how to do that too. So I'm really proud of my run tonight. I'll take that after missing last week at Bristol.
The car looked fun to drive from up here. Fixed setup. How fun was that car out there, especially through that traffic?
Oh, I love this new rule setup NASCAR had with the lower downforce. It just plays into my hand perfectly, and with this fixed setup, the tires fall off after about 10 laps, which makes it even more fun to me because that separates the men from the boys, and you definitely saw that happen tonight.
You talked about missing last week, but looking forward, this second place run really has to give you a lot of momentum heading into the next couple of weeks.
Oh, definitely. This is where the championship run starts for me right now. I mean, I got a new rig. Thanks to Erica for helping me get this thing. Runs perfectly. This is where it starts right now, and hopefully we can make the chase now.
And as Gabe mentioned, a lot of those guys up near the front of the field and points-wise had a bad night, so a good night for you as well. Who makes it happen for you? Who do you got in the side of this race car?
I like to thank Lions Club International allowing me to do this. We raised about, I think, $15 for LCIF tonight. KidSight USA, if you didn't see on the hood, is our new program. We're trying to get 25 million kids across the United States eye screens. So just hit up your local Lions Club anywhere, and they can screen your child's sight anywhere from 6 months to 6 years old, and it's a great program. We have Short Associates here in Mechanicsville, one of my first sponsors ever to come on with me. Blown Gasket Racing, Evan Roush and Eric Barley over there, they've really helped me drive these cup cars. I don't know where I'd be without them right now. Racing Warehouse, they got some cool stuff. Get your own pieces of NASCAR cars. You guys at LSRTV for doing what you do for Lions and being on the side of my car. And I'd like to thank Domino's. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a league. And thank you all for watching tonight. Hopefully we can get that win here sooner or later.
And that's your second place driver, Paul Fugit. Great run tonight by the 45. We're going to slide on over and talk to our third place position this evening. That's Curtis Aho. And we'll get Curtis on the line here and talk to him about a third place run tonight. There we go. Curtis, let's talk about this run here tonight. Started on the pole, and I don't think you were out of the top three all night long.
No, I stayed up there. Had a really good short run, but would lose the tires, and guys would start catching me. Hung on, yeah, kept it in third for the whole time, but that was good.
Yeah, it looked like that second run, especially early in the run, you had the car to beat, but it just looked like the tires fell off, and that 19 might have conserved a little bit more. How hard was tire conservation here tonight at this racetrack?
Oh, it was big. Yeah, the first run, the second run, I got out to a lead, pushed it too hard. I was kind of excited that I was leading. On the last run, I was behind Young for most of the time. I was trying to do the exact same lap that he was doing to conserve my tires, but he was just doing a better job and could pull out to a lead.
And we asked Paul as well, this fixed setup that we had here tonight, it looked really fun to drive, especially in traffic. How was this setup? Obviously, tire conservation with the scaled back tire wear was a little bit of a handle, but it looked like the car was fun to drive tonight.
Oh, yeah, the car was incredible. Coming off turn 2 and turn 4 was a lot of fun getting close to the wall and using up the whole track.
Great run for you tonight, and I know you got some names on the side of this car, and I'm sure you got some guys that helped you out throughout the week who makes it happen for the 38 car.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank Mike, Travis, you guys that tune in all the time and watch me. I'd like to thank Robert for putting on a great league. I'd like to thank Joe Owen for sponsoring the race, and thank you guys, LSRTV, for putting on a great program.
And an awesome run tonight by the 38. That's Curtis Aho. And Gabe, I'm going to tell you, that 38 car just came up a couple of positions short, but one of the strongest cars in the field tonight.
Oh, yeah, he had to be one of the top three cars in this race. You know, I was really looking forward to seeing those top three guys. Those are the guys I always look forward to. I know they were all new to you this week with the Domino's series, but, you know, I know them, you know, and I've seen them all race, and I love seeing guys like Paul Fugit. He always has the worst luck when it comes to these races. He runs up front, but he just doesn't get it done. None of his own doing. He just gets caught up in incidents. This week, he gets it done, gets that second place, but first win of the year for that 19th. Congratulations to him.
And, Paul seemed a little confident before the race, and he backed it up with that second place finish. And first time I've seen these guys run, but I was really impressed by them. A lot of green flag racing and a couple of incidents that brought out caution flags, but nevertheless, very clean. I'm very impressed by these guys. Congratulations to Curtis Young in the win, Paul and Curtis Aho on the top 3 that they put on. And even at the end of the race, Brad Roast had a great top 5 run going, ran out of fuel. Great move by Steinacre to take that top 5 position away. Ray Richard just outside the top 5 was running in the top 5 for that third run. Came out of nowhere to finish in position number 6. And throughout the field, the 14 had a great rebound after the first couple laps of this race. A lot of drivers impressed me tonight. This whole league impressed me. I might have to come back here a couple more times.
Well, we'd love to have you up here, and we'd love to have Brian up here as well. I know Brian had to step away. Brian, are you up here? Looks like Brian had to step away. I know he had to make a phone call here, but on behalf of him, I'm Gabriel Wood. On behalf of Tim Terry and Brian Schoenberg, and of course our producer Cisco Scaramouza, I'd like to thank you for joining us here on LSRTV for presentation of the Domino's TYJ Cup Series, the Owens Towing 160. Join us tomorrow for the ISSR Super Speedway Series and the Rod Car Truck Tour. And next week, the Domino Series goes back to the trucks at Bristol. Join us next week and join us tomorrow and every other race on LSR TV. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations to Curtis Young on first win of the year. We'll see you again tomorrow, next week, and hopefully for a long time to come. Congratulations to all of our top finishers. We'll see you next week.